The writing that you see on the screen is going to show the maximum depth that we were at, the average depth, the length of time we were in the water, the temperature of the water, and also the dive number is how many dives we have done year to date. Also, it's going to show you the location of the dive. The Galapagos Islands consist of 13 major islands, 6 minor islands, along with numerous rock formations. They are located on the equator 600 miles west of the Ecuadorian coast of South America, 1,000 miles south of Guatemala, 2,000 miles north of Easter Island, and just over 3,000 miles from the Marquesas Islands to the west. This map shows the route that we took on the Buddy Darwin, which is one of 2 identical boats made specifically for diving in the Galapagos. They were commissioned and just put in the water this past September 2012. They're 120 feet by 27 feet wide, and unlike most boats, they do not have wheels or propellers. They are operated by water jets. Diving in the Galapagos is not for everyone. You can have very strong currents up to 2 knots. You can have very strong surges, which can carry you up or down in a water column 10, 20, 30 feet. You can also have a washing machine action where you're almost tumbling through the water. So before each dive, Nicholas would draw a beautiful map of what we're going to dive and put all the highlights, information on it, and he would draw this freehand every morning before we start out on our dives. The Galapagos sea lion is closely related to the California sea lion. Manta rays are considered oceanic travelers. They have normally a 6 to 12 foot wingspan in an archipelago, but they can get up to 22 feet from wingtip to wingtip. This is a Panamic fanged blenny, but it's a juvenile version. The adults can get up to 9 inches max, and they live in crevices in the rocks and the walls, mainly along surge lines. This is a flag cabrilla sea bass. They get up to a max of 1 3/4 feet. They commonly stay around 20 to 40 foot depth, but can go as deep as 100 feet. Blue chin parrotfish. This is the initial phase. Like a lot of fishes, they change dramatically as they get older. They get up to about 1 foot in length in the initial phase, and they inhabit the rocky, boulder-strewn reefs. All of the Galapagos are the tops of volcanoes. This is one of the most active regions in the world for volcanoes. And you can see from the topography under the water, it's a series of boulders and edges of the tops of the volcanoes. A multitude of fish. You can see there are hundreds and hundreds that we're going through. You can see that one diver pointing, and he's pointing over to the barracuda that are in this large school over on the side. And the other side of the barracuda school, you can see another diver named Michelle, who was on the boat with us. Pelican barracuda get up to 3 feet max, depths of 10 to 80 feet, and they swim in large polarized schools, and they often hold position over a reef facing the current. They tend to ignore divers, but move away if you rapidly approach them. They are common to occasional in the entire archipelago. Green sea turtles. They're the only species of sea turtle that mates in the archipelago. Their mating season is November through December. After our dive, the dive master took us over to this little lagoon where we literally had to crawl over rocks to make it into this area. And there's a colony of fur sea lions or fur seals, and he would call them four seals. So we would make fun of them and say, are they four of them or there are more of them? So anyway, you could see how friendly they are. Very clear water. And they would just hang out among all the scuba divers that are just snorkeling at the moment. Razor surgeonfish get up to 1.5 feet max, depths of 10 to 100 feet, and they're abundant throughout the entire archipelago. They swim about the reefs in large schools, and they do have a row of 3 spines on the base of the tail, which are sharp. The yellow and black fish are Moorish idle. They get up to a maximum of 9 inches at depths of 10 to 150 feet, and they are common to occasional. This is a female Pacific boxfish. They get up to 7 inches in length, 10 to 50 feet. Only occasional in the northern archipelago. They're very uncommon in the other islands. Stone scorpionfish, 1.5 foot max, depths 1 to 100 feet. They're common throughout the entire archipelago. They can darken and change color to blend with the background. The spines of the dorsal fin are venomous and can cause a painful wound. We were going to do one dive at Wolf Island before going on to Darwin's Arch, and I was all suited up. We're on the boat going over to the dive spot, and my computer started to leak air, and they wouldn't allow me to jump in the water. So I had to pass on the dive and just sit in the boat with my lovely wife and wait for everybody to come back. Bicolor parrotfish get up to 2 foot maximum, 10 to 120 foot depths, and they're common to occasional throughout the Galapagos. The dull-colored one that came right after is the same fish, but that's the initial phase. You can see how differently the coloring is. Whale shark get up to 55 feet in length, and the ones we saw were pretty much close to that. 6 to 60 feet in depths, and they are really uncommon throughout the entire archipelago. You're more likely to see them in Wolf and Darwin in October and November, as they are considered open water oceanic fish. But we were very lucky and got to see quite a few of them, even though this is at the end of December. Scalloped hammerhead sharks get up to 14 feet in length, depths of 10 to 600 feet. Most of the sharks we saw were probably between 6 and 10 feet in length. There were so many sharks, I only kept maybe 10% of all the film that I had on them. Barber fish get up to 6 inches in length, 10 to 70 foot depths, and they're abundant throughout the entire archipelago. You can see from most of the video, a lot of the time we're literally hanging onto rocks, trying to stay in one place against the current. So it's a little bit difficult with my camera to hold on with a few fingers of one hand and try and hold the camera steady with the other, fighting 1.5 or 2 knot current.